subscribe and, you know, like the video.
They tell you that you have obesity, like it was some kind of contagious disease. They treat it as if your body malfunctioned, and they give you a shot to control it.
Yeah, he's mad about Ozempic, dude. Like, if RFK Jr. makes Ozempic illegal, I am going to lose my mind. Okay? I am perhaps the greatest advocate of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the like outside of people that actually use it. Okay? You cannot be a dude who takes TRT and weird ass peptides and simultaneously act like Ozempic is bad, you animal. It makes me so, it angers me to no end. Okay? Burada. Dur. Bir dakika veriyorum. Evet. Aferin.
RFK just said they'll give you a shot to control it. The thing is that a ton of high palatability, very delicious foods for very cheap, very conveniently, you apply that to people with any given food drive genetically. And the people with a high food drive, they get real fat. People with average food drive, they gain weight, but they don't get super fat, just a little overweight. The people with low food drive, it basically hardly affects them at all, or makes them, actually brings them up to a healthier weight, because otherwise they would be like morbidly thin. What are we supposed to do about that? We've already, almost everybody knows you're not supposed to be eating junk food. They do it anyway. They don't care. Guys, we have a given.
Gabriel, I brought 3 months of Ozempic in a moment of weakness for my birthday, and I've just left it sitting in my fridge for a series of reasons, primarily because with RFK leading the Department of Health, I don't want to develop a dependency on it and then have to stop cold turkey. What do you mean a moment of weakness? Why is it a moment of weakness? What the f are we doing? Why are we demonizing healthcare? Why are we demonizing medicine? It is not a moment of weakness, okay?
Problem in America. We do not have a knowledge problem in America. And
you don't get addicted to Ozempic, chatter? No, I understand what the chatter is afraid of. If your access to Ozempic is cut after you've been using it, you're cooked. That is not a lie. You will not only bounce back on your weight, but you will gain more weight after stopping it. This is true. Yeah, my parents told me Ozempic paralyzes your stomach or some shit. Is that fake? No, it's not. Stomach paralysis can happen to some people. What if Denmark stops selling it to the US over Greenland? Okay, don't even joke about that shit, bro. That's, oh my God. This country is so cooked. We literally have the capacity to combat one of the most major health epidemics in the United States of America, which is obesity, which is tied to so many other health complications as well. And right at the precipice of this medical discovery, okay, this marvel of modern medicine is right there in the periphery, and it's like entering the American marketplace right now, and then Donald Trump's gonna come in and f it, dude. Oh my God. You motherfucker, why you talk shit about my country, Georgia? We not state, we proud country, we f Turkey up. Georgia, F you, ex Russia. Georgia wishes it could f Russia over to the same degree as Turkey does on a regular basis, okay? Georgia wishes it had half, not even half, a fraction of the smoke that Turkey delivered to Russia. Literally, okay, American chatters, don't listen to what I'm saying, okay? This is not for you. American chatters, European chatters, this is a periphery of the USSR conversation only, okay? Close your ears. You're not hearing what I'm saying right now. Earmuffs, okay? Georgia wishes it had half of the smoke. New favorite chatter, hope he's as funny as Moldovan Mama Liga. Yeah, Moldova is another country that wishes it had. I own home. I live more better than fat Ameripigs. Okay, that part is true. Facts. Say thank you, Stalin. It's true. He is right, though. Georgia mogs America on home ownership rates, which is the only statistic that they're better than America on, it seems. Also, less obesity, too. Less diabetes, at least. Significantly less diabetes. Ozempic and TRT are morally the same if you want to judge change in the physique, but in regards to the harm they inflict, you can compare. TRT can be much better. Ozempic helps obesity, but at what price? What the fuck are you talking about? TRT can be obviously given to people as medication when you have significantly lower levels of testosterone, that it's unhealthy. But in terms of like the average obese person using Ozempic, Ozempic is infinitely better than TRT in that vein. What? Ozempic addresses a health issue. TRT makes you brolic if you have normal levels of T. So I say this as someone who wants to take testosterone, wants to do testosterone replacement therapy eventually if I get to a degree. What? TRT, if done right, is a life changer. Ozempic in regards to harms is worse. No, it's not. You're absolutely wrong about this. Every drug that you take has side effects. TRT is definitely not rid of any side effects. What the apt comparison is between the health impacts of Ozempic and obesity, not Ozempic and TRT. Yeah, having a pro steroids anti-Ozempic chatter is crazy. It's not. You're just describing the RFK Jr. constituency.
Some of these folks, they just kind of want to eat the normal foods that are around, which a lot of them are super delicious, but not have to super rigidly like spend all of the focus controlling them and dealing with hunger pangs. So for those folks, especially ones that have gotten used to a diet of high palatability foods, you give them the shot, Ozempic, tirzepatide, whatever it is you want to do, and they lose weight because now all of a sudden their food drive, their food noise comes down.
Yeah, this part, I don't agree with the initial thing that he was talking about with respect to like people's personal choices are the major reason why, you know, obesity is a real problem in America or whatever. But because it is ultimately about food drive, right, which can be impacted by multiple different factors, it is ultimately your capacity to consume food, whether you're an emotional eater or whatever the right? Like your food drive definitely plays a role in you gaining weight. And if GLP-1 agonists are stopping that food drive for one reason or another, yes, it is going to cause you to eat less food, regardless of your financial situation. And yeah, you're gonna lose weight as a part of that process.
Substantially, psychologically. It's a real effect. And the shot works better than anything we've ever tried outside of surgery. In a statistical application level, it works better than diet and exercise. Now, ideally, the shot is combined with diet and exercise, and then it's a killer.
Yeah.
But even by itself, it works better than just diet and exercise because people can sustain it longer. They don't quit as often, and it has really, really big effects. So until we can get a handle on obesity, and we also know that the average side effect profile of semaglutide, tirzepatide, et cetera, versus the risk profile of continuing to be obese is probably like a 99-to-1 trade-off of risk-reward, reward to risk, rather. So if someone's like, well, I don't know, the shot has side effects. Do you know what the side effects of obesity are? Let me list every single disease we know that is caused or potentiated excessively or has morbid outcomes with obesity. It's not a controversy. So until and unless we get this major problem of obesity under control, take the shot. You don't have to take the shot, but if it's an option, we as politicians and people of public note and people trying to teach each other science should not be poo-pooing the shot in most cases, because you got a solution for me that's going to work. It is not endocrine disrupting chemicals. It's not most of the other stuff he's going to say in the video. The shot is a straight killer. It works. And it works, guys, because it doesn't touch your conscientiousness. It absolutely touches your food drive. And if it reduces your food drive, it makes you lose weight. That's it. That's it. And a lot of the people judging fatter people for needing the shot, they're just the ones that got lucky and got really good food drive genetics and aren't really tempted to eat a lot of snacks. So the shot works. And until we have something that works better, let's not kibosh the shot. On a trade-off, it works exceptionally, exceptionally well.
What they're ignoring is a food supply that's loaded with high fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup is not any more obesogenic than any other kind of sugar that's been studied. Definitely cane sugar and all that other stuff. It has a slightly higher fraction of fructose.
You guys just don't understand that there are people who can't easily lose weight through just diet and exercise alone. There are other factors, yes, but at the end of the day, okay, here's the reality, okay? If I lock you in a room and I control everything that you eat, even if you don't move, and I give you less calories during that day in this torture experiment, okay, you are going to lose weight. That is the reality. That's it. That's the reality. You don't have to exercise, not even a little bit, okay? This is true. Having said that, those other factors are obviously incredibly important. And I say this as someone who has lost all of this weight and has gained it back in the past as well during COVID and then lost it again, okay? Yeah, it's not an exact science, but if I give you less food than your body needs to, sustain itself, you're going to lose weight. You're going to lose a lot of muscle mass. You're going to lose bone density. Your everything's going to atrophy. It's probably going to up your psyche. Okay. But you're going to lose weight because that's what it is at the end of the day. But this is a major problem because that is the truth. And yet so many people that recognize that truth will consistently just say, oh, you just stop eating food, fatty. Like, that's an idiotic way to address the problem, okay? This is why I get so sensitive, I guess, about Ozempic in general, or Wegovy, or whatever, GLP-1 agonists, because it is right now the most effective way of curbing your appetite. Then stop suggesting it. There is never even once in my life that I have suggested that. Okay? You are insane. I have talked about weight loss, eating disorders, weight gain, healthy diets a million times over on this broadcast. Okay? Calories in, calories out is not my suggestion. I'm just addressing the truth. Okay? I hate that people stop legitimizing calories in, calories out. I'm not legitimizing it. It is just the truth. Okay? It is just the truth. Whether you want to recognize it or not, it is the truth of the world. Okay? It is the truth of your body. Having said that, however, no, it's not. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't do this. It's funny because we're having a literal conversation about like a quack, like RFK Jr., and what you're doing right now is literally RFK Jr. shit. Okay? Either you are doing vaccine denialism at this point, okay? You are denying thermodynamics. Stop saying it's oversimplified. It is counterproductive. It's because it's not that simple. And I'm literally addressing why people that say, oh, it's calories in, calories out, stop eating the food, are wrong. That's from my own personal experience as well. Okay? So shut the fuck up. Just don't use the phrase, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that your eating disordered ass is getting triggered when I say a fact about basic human body dynamics, okay? I'm not going to respond to you any further. Jesus Christ. Be normal. Holy shit. Calories in, calories out is correct, but the factors that stop people from eating, or what kind of choices they're making, or even all of the many different ways in which you actually burn more calories throughout the day through a less sedentary lifestyle, like if you are not living in a car-reliant infrastructure, is, Hasan, you literally have an eating disorder? Okay, sure, I do, okay? All of these other factors are so consequential, which is precisely the reason why America has a unique problem with obesity in comparison to other countries, okay? That's it. That's why, yes, if you were to lock someone in a room and feed them a certain amount of food and maintain a caloric deficit every single day, they would inevitably lose weight no matter what. Even if they didn't work out, they would lose weight. It just depends on how severe the caloric deficit is at that point. It would be incredibly unhealthy, however. Okay? This is why Ozempic is good, and by my estimation. It's good because it basically forces your brain somehow to not eat as much. Ignore these shadows. I kept a weight loss journal and set my caloric deficit to 1,500 calories. I'm 6 foot, 216. And in the span of 2 months, I got down to 207. I'm lazy as hell, so I lost all this weight just chilling and doing normal shit, no exercise. Your diet is extremely crucial to your weight loss. Yes, you cannot outwork your diet in normal circumstances. You could outwork your diet, but you'd have to do insane levels of exercise
than regular normal table sugar does. And it seems to not affect a whole lot of anything. It is subsidized, so it's cheaper than normal, which we'll come back to in a bit. It is a little bit of a problem, but a very small problem because, again, nobody's stuffing high fructose corn syrup down your gullet. Any one of you can go to the store right now and buy exclusively fruits, veggies, whole grains, canned beans, canned veggies of all kinds, reduced fat meats, and eat for super cheap, very high quality diet. It's not going to be the tastiest thing in the world. It's not going to be obesogenic. You're almost certainly not going to gain weight off it. You'll probably lose weight. So there's no one pushing corn syrup onto you. They just put it into a bunch of snack foods that are really cheap that you're buying. You're not the victim here, folks. It's your work.
No, I think that absolutely is wrong. You are the victim, okay? Saying that it's simple impulse control and just like put it aside is crazy, especially because it's in everything. And a responsible government is supposed to ensure that it's not in everything, okay? If they put in all of the meat tomorrow, okay, and everyone became addicts, we wouldn't be like, oh, well, it's your fault. Don't eat the meat, okay? You'd be like, no, that's crazy. The government's putting in the meat. Please stop. Government, what the fuck? Look no further than the opioid epidemic in this country, right? The opioid epidemic is a decent analog. The government did not regulate these drugs that were highly addictive. The people that were developing these drugs basically set up an entire process where they could mass produce it and farm it out as aggressively as possible, okay? And look where we're at now. An entire marketplace, a massive, robust marketplace filled to the brim with people who are addicted to opiates and desperately looking for more. That is the fault of the government. That is a systemic problem. And I see corn syrup and not even just corn syrup, but just like the regular, readily available, highly calorically dense food that is delicious and tasty to be in the same vein. This government is completely captive and completely servile to corporate interests. And that is the reason why American diets are the way that they are. And that a decent amount of regulation is an absolute necessity if we were to genuinely improve American health across the board. It should, I unironically think it should be like virtually impossible to like, if not illegal, basically impossible to sell and consume like a Baskin Robbins milkshake. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, a lot of Americans would probably kill me at the thought, but like if you as a food provider are making a 4,000 calorie milkshake, you should be going to jail. Okay? If you make a 4,000 calorie milkshake, like you are actively trying to kill people. I will treat you like a serial killer. It's insane. And I say this as someone who has consumed a decent amount of milkshakes in my life. Okay? It is crazy. It's so tasty. It's so delicious. It is the absolute worst thing. Literally, shut up, Hasan. This is wrong. You're wrong. Bro, shut the up. This is your stupidest opinion I've ever heard. Wait, what? What is... He's like, nah, dude, I want a 1,000 calorie milkshake. Shut the up. If you come after... I'm Mr. Robbins of the Baskin Robbins franchise. If you come after my... If you come after my wares, I will kill you. I'm sending a drone strike to your house. Anyway, milkshake defenders, Americans, dude. It's like, don't touch the burger. Americans, when you come after burger shake, bad take. That's like banning porn because you personally have an addiction to it. I mean, considering that I don't have these milkshakes at all, and considering that I actually regulate my food intake, I think it would be kind of wrong for me to make this assertion. For me to say like, oh, I can't control myself, so it should be illegal. Don't you think that that's kind of stupid? As you literally know that for a fact that I have a pretty airtight diet. Like I very clearly can deal with it since it's something that I can, readily consume at this very moment and choose not to. How do you counteract this take with your broader take that America is good for its trees? Wasn't the 40 flavors of Oreos when you saw when visiting your grandma the impetus that made you realize, holy shit, I want to be an American? Yes. Diversity of treats is entirely different than, going a little too far. Just because I think it's good to have diversity of choice, a diverse option of like different treats doesn't mean that there aren't areas that you can improve through regulation in terms of like what those treats are being made. It's like saying, oh, you like guns and you say that they should be, you like guns. So that must mean you want every American to have a nuclear weapon or something. And the truth is that many Americans assume that the food they buy is relatively safe, but hundreds of ingredients in them aren't properly studied and only gain the ability to enter foods through the grass loophole. Man, pull up the nutritional facts for a Baskin Robbins Oreo shake so everyone can see. It's like it has like 3 days worth of saturated fat, 263 grams of sugar. Yeah, it is a literal bioweapon. I didn't realize weight was such a political issue. Every issue is political. I want to know what that one chatter was saying that was like, I will kill you. Your take is so bad. The 48-month subscriber. Anyway,
world to live in. You can have assistance from pharmacology. You can have assistance from nutritional education. But a lot of your assistance is going to come up from up here and be like, I need to make better choices. Sorry, I'm not a politician, so I get to say shit like that.
And seed oils.
Scott, hurt me.
There it is.
I got to feed.
It's not actually a big deal. I just like milkshake, Lamau. Every American, dude. Every American. This is the same idea as drug prohibition. It's just going to make people want these milkshakes more. I didn't say no milkshake, man. Calm the down. I am a major advocate of affordable, healthier affordable, healthier alternatives. That is how I've been able to also basically maintain my diet. Okay. I promise you, if there was a limit to, some of the things that you can consume on a daily basis, and they were substituted with like healthier alternatives, like higher protein alternatives, for example, like a protein shake that still tastes pretty good, I promise you, maybe the first month people would be very upset, but they'd get the over it.
That's your trigger. There's my trigger. Guys, seed oils have caused reliably in the scientific literature no detectable health maladies, accounting for their extra calories that they put into your food.
I also use milkshakes as an example because it's the greatest example of just like the shittiest thing you can consume. If you want to gain weight, or if you want like the maximum amount of calories with like minimal satiation of hunger, drink a milkshake. Okay? It's just pure sugar and fat. There's a little bit of protein in it too, but it's just mostly sugar and fat. Okay? It is so easy to put down. It's so unimaginably easy to put down. Okay? And I say this to someone with a massive sweet tooth. You're literally drinking a drink, and that drink has like 1,000 calories in it. It's crazy.
Seed oil hypothesis is dead in the water. It's dead in the water. Seed oils cannot be reliably linked to any bad outcome. They just can't. And if you have a group of rigorous studies to send me, dope. If you say, yeah, but all these guys are bought and sold, sweet. Do you have your own independent agency that's going to do very, very objectively transparent research? I would love to see it. So far, all attempts of that have still found absolutely nothing at all to blame it on. And here's the thing, guys, just real talk, like let's clear all the knowledge out of our head super quick. We'll bring it back in a second. Just go just on vibes. I want you to do a little experiment with me. If we replaced all of the junk food and mac and cheese and fried eggs and everything people are eating, donuts, ice cream, etc., we took out all the seed oils and we replaced all that with butter and cheese, do you guys think that like all of a sudden the obesity epidemic is gone? I mean, are you kidding me? You're going to see someone like at a restaurant taking...
It's different when you're underweight and trying to gain weight. Milkshakes are popular for ED treatment. Yeah, I totally get that. If you're underweight, it's the greatest invention of all time. I'm just so far removed from that side of the planet because I've never had a problem eating too little.
Huge chunk, big cut fries, the delicious ones, and dipping them into like cheese sauce and then mayo and then ketchup, why not, and putting them down the gullet by the pounds. And you're like, hey, sir, I'm just concerned. Are there seed oils in there? Like, this is all seed oil free, man, regular animal fat. And they're like, oh, carry on. My God.
Yeah,
you must
tallow fat. That's going to fix it.
We care about your health. Stop looking for little tiny nuances that can excuse you out of eating junk food. You want to eat nasty shit. I get it. I do too. I love it. Mac and cheese with all that crap on top, French fries, burgers. It tastes amazing. But it's because it tastes amazing. It's because it's loaded with calories, because you overeat it. That's why you get fat and unhealthy. It's not the seed oils, folks. We didn't lost that football on the way to the you know what I'm saying, on the way to go and get the touchdown with it. We just fumbled somewhere. It's not around. It just doesn't make any sense. So the more we keep focusing on seed oils, the more we miss out on the fact that like, it's just a bunch of the junk you're eating. Joe Rogan makes his idea of seed oil is, I think, in my opinion, quite wrong. But he also makes a great point. He's like, it's all that pasta you're eating. He's not talking about bodybuilding pasta. He's not talking about a little bit of olive oil and some dill and then a bunch of spaghetti with like some clean chicken on the, no, hell no. We're talking about Alfredo, fettuccine, Parmesan, carbonara, that stuff. That's just a ton of really awesome food you're going to cram down and gain weight. That's how that works. It's the tons of food that's super tasty, that's junky, that we're eating all the time. That's what it is, fellas. I wish it was different.
Ignore a skewed system of subsidies that make these unnatural, ultra-processed foods cheap.
The subsidies thing is the real thing.
Yes.
Subsidies absolutely do occur.
I agree.
They're a money pit. And almost all economists agree that food subsidies are a gigantic waste of time.
Wait, I want to say they're a gigantic waste of time. Okay, hold on now. I don't know about that, but I do think that what we are subsidizing has played a major role in what goes into the food.
I have to say, politically, because RFK does work in a Republican administration, the vast majority of the states that have food subsidies signed into law are Republican voting red states in the farming areas of the United States. You guys want to cancel farming subsidies, you're going to have to go up against that. I think it's a good idea to go up against it because farming subsidies are absolutely absurd on every economic analysis. But that's a Republican problem in many cases. Now, look, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm very independent. And
no, I know he's not talking about SNAP, dude. I'm saying that like food subsidies in general are a part of are a very important part of central planning. Okay, it's the American way of doing it, which is not putting the public interest in mind, or even necessarily the actual industry in mind. It usually goes in the opposite direction, where the industry leads the central planning. But you know, he's talking about ag subsidies. Yes, there's no issue with agricultural subsidies, guys. What are we talking about? Like, you think fruits and vegetables are expensive right now? Remove subsidies out of the equation and see what that looks like. What are you talking about? I don't think there's a single country on the planet that does not get some semblance of subsidies from a federal organized body that maintains food prices at the level that they are. I work in ag subsidies. They're laying us off anyways. Well, yeah, there's also that too. Anyway, let's continue.
Mostly libertarian. I'm for freedom and getting rich and all that other good stuff. But you got to call a spade at some point. Like, there's your people preventing this. So get to it. There is no conspiracy. It's just a lot of farmers and farming corporations that like free money. So they're pro-subsidy. And anytime you try to push back against them, they're like, oh, you're against the American farmer and you're risking our food supply. It's actually in reverse. But that is what it is. So it's not like some kind of giant conspiracy over there. It's actually very, very straight up that they just want more stuff and want a less competitive environment. That being said, I'm all for it. Removing subsidies would be great. However, if you remove subsidies for corn syrup and stuff like that, the mega food conglomerates like McDonald's and Kraft Foods, et cetera, they still have to make all the same junk food you're buying because, drum roll, you keep buying it. And they're going to want to make it as cheap as possible. So yeah, they might have to increase some of their prices by 5 or 10 cents here or there, or 20 or 30 cents here or there. But after finding alternative sources and ramping production and scaling on that, they're going to bring the prices back down anyway. So it's like a very temporary solution. Now, of course, subsidies are a giant waste of money, and we could be using that money in 50 other different ways, including in just taxing Americans less and giving everyone who's hardworking back more money. But at the same time, it's not going to be this thing that like resolves the problem. Remember, the genesis, the very seed of the problem is that that's right, you and me like to eat really tasty foods that have tons of calories for really cheap, that are really convenient. Capitalism is going to vector all the arrows down to that. You can't cancel capitalism because then your phone doesn't work and your car doesn't work and there's no food and everyone's starving. That's not an option. We got to work on ourselves and be like, what kind of choice?
Socialism is when no phone. Oh, God. Yeah, well, again, in terms of political economy, Dr. Mike and I are on the exact opposite. We are diametrical opposites.
Do we want to make? Can we take some pharmacology? Maybe that's good. Maybe that's not. Can we exercise a bit more? Maybe that's good. Maybe that's not. Can we pick the right kinds of foods at the store and tell ourselves we're mostly going to be eating healthy foods and we're going to care about our weight? Yeah, probably.
He's right. No matter how bad it sounds, no matter where you are, you have to make better choices in America. It's impossible. Okay. Yeah. Again, it doesn't come down to personal choice. Okay. Like, it's just not that simple. That's just not how human beings operate. That's it. Okay. This is why I get mad when people yell at me for saying calories in, calories out and misunderstand the point that I'm making. Because at the end of the day, it's not just like, oh, well, I chose not to eat. Like, that's not how it works. Okay. That's not how this works at all. If that was the case, then there would be no need for government. There would be no need for regulation. There would be no need for rules. Oh, it's just my personal choice. Just make the personal choice to don't not eat, okay? Or make the personal choice to eat healthier alternatives or, consume less calories every single day. That's ridiculous, okay? That's not how society works. That's not how human beings work. And that's not how the government works. There would be no reason for the government to exist if that was the case. I think that is a more idealistic worldview than the way that right-wingers consider socialists to be, okay? I also listen to the public health man. The government needs to regulate the damn density of sugar in drinks and food, not eliminate it. But if you decrease sugar by 1 gram, you change health for thousands. I mean, that is the part That is the entire thing with the government. Yes. If the government regulated certain aspects of the way food is made, okay, if there were better restrictions, for example, even if it was marginal, it would dramatically improve people's lives. Okay, straight up. Leftists want us to eat turds. Yeah, the solution to crime is people need to control themselves. Exactly. I think a big chunk of this comes from subsidies at the end of the day, and certainly corn plays a big role in this. Okay, and a big part of the process is like what kind of foods are readily available for cheap, and how the healthier alternatives are infinitely more costly. Like the way I eat is unimaginably healthy. Okay, I use a food scale to make sure that I know what my protein intake looks like, what my daily calories look like, okay, as close as I possibly can get. But I can only do that because I'm a Twitch streamer. And I can also, instead of drinking a milkshake from McDonald's or whatever, go and get like a tasty alternative, a tasty protein shake as an alternative. Okay, that is readily available to me because I, have more money. That's it. Bro's a little too quirked up about his diet. I mean, yeah, I am. Having said that, however, I was also able to do this when I was broke too, but it was significantly harder.
Probably, but that whole idea of like, well, as soon as you get rid of subsidies, millions of Americans will get leaner. Like, yeah, they would if they trained right to gain muscle, but there's so much complexity to it. What exercises to choose, what sets and reps to do, how much weight to lift, and how to structure your weekly plan. So much uncertainty that it's easy to get overwhelmed. The RP Hypertrophy app removes all uncertainty and makes the training process precisely defined. Choose your pre-made workout plan from dozens available in the app, plug in your weights, and the app takes care of the rest for months of productive training. Ready? Click on the link in the description.
Fat people, Hasanabi, act like you can't die from starvation. What?
Of this video to get started. Overeating hyper tasty foods that have tons of calories is the reason we have an obesity epidemic. That's that node, the central core governor of what's going on. And unless you got something for that, I don't know what's going to happen.
They ignore chemical contamination from pesticides that is wreaking havoc on our body.
Pesticides have been studied into the ground by professional toxicologists. And I would Google or ask ChatGPT or ask Grok, what do professional toxicologists think about pesticides and their effect on health? We've studied this in the ground. Mass pesticide exposure explains almost no variance in almost anything. Can we reduce our pesticide exposure a little bit for a little bit more gain? Yeah, probably, just by a tiny bit. But the idea that pesticides are causing mass health maladies and are somehow related to obesity is just a non-starter. We've already looked into it in insane amounts. And if you want to look into yourself, the empirical
I think a big part of the pesticides problem is not even immediately in the food that we consume, which I don't think RFK gives a shit about, even though there are, I think, some pesticides that are very dangerous and we just don't necessarily give a shit. But it's more so the ecological disaster that it causes. Like, it's just destroying the ecosystem. It's not RFK, it's the worm talking. Pesticides. The worm demands less pesticides.
Empirical data is crystal clear. I would love it, guys. I would love it. I have no specific...
I didn't think that I would be on RFK Jr. and the worms. I wouldn't think that I would take the worms side on this one over Dr. Mike Israetel, but I think, yeah. I mean, I'm not like anti-pesticides across the board, but I think that there is a lot of damage that is doing to the delicate ecosystems and most likely to our bodies as well. I'm pro-worm now. Holy
specific attachment to agro businesses. I have no specific attachment to pesticide manufacturing corporations. I don't like the idea of eating pesticides any more than anybody else. So
I don't know if the pesticides are related to obesity, though. It's not.
I'm not here to try to say pesticides are great. You should have as many of them as possible. No. It's just the reality that while, like many of you watching, I would want to blame one single factor or some simple ones. Like if we just notice RFK's thing is removing things. We remove the seed oils. We remove the artificial ingredients. We remove the pesticides and we remove food subsidies. And all of a sudden we're going to really make a huge dent on the obesity epidemic. Bullshit. That's just not going to happen because it hasn't stood up to the evidence and we've collected a ton. What is going to reduce obesity is drugs that help people control their food drive, and then working with people on expressing their conscientiousness more to make better choices, and maybe some other regulatory stuff on a little bit of that 20% side. This is really going to be what's going to do obesity in. Is sure not going to be any of those things. If it was going to be those things, I would be in the first saying to be like, get rid of, trans fats were pretty bad for you. We got rid of them. I think that was a great decision. Trans fats. Seed oils are not trans fats, and neither are artificial flavoring. This just ain't it. I wish it was. It's not. Folks, there is still more video to come. However, we do have a members section where you get a much more expanded version of this video with tons of my BS politically incorrect points inserted and more science and knowledge and tons of other informative videos that come up basically weekly to get you guys going. We got training vlogs from myself and Jared. We got the whole thing. So give the members area a shot. Link up to buy. Otherwise, let's get back to the video.
I do. I take a lot of vitamins. I can't even list them to you here because I couldn't even remember them all, but I take a ton of vitamins and nutrients.
Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with this at all. I think it's great. But just to make something very clear, almost all vitamins and nutrients are much less regulated than foods and way less regulated than drugs. And he's for removing poisons from the foods. And he's pretty anti-drug in the sense of, like Ozempic and tirzepatide and stuff like that, and various other drugs, vaccines. And at the same time, he's taking supplements he doesn't even remember what they're called, and they're not regulated nearly as extremely. And I'm not saying regulation is a good thing, as all the other things he thinks aren't as regulated enough. So it's kind of curious, like, why supplements are just chemicals. Guys, they're all just drugs all the way down the line. Your body does not discriminate. It treats everything as a chemical because it's a chemical. So this whole idea of, but I take tons of supplements, but their drugs are bad, is nonsense. It's straight up nonsense. Forgive me.
I'm on an anti-aging protocol from my doctor that includes testosterone replacement.
That's cool. Scott, he looks like TRT grandpa, doesn't he? Yeah. A little redder than average, but more jacked and kind of more alive looking. Yeah.
And but I don't take any steroids. I don't take any anabolic steroids or anything.
Okay, so testosterone is an anabolic steroid, but that's just being pedantic.
TRT I use is bioidentical to what my body produced.
False. The TRT you use is almost certainly either pegged with an enanthate ester or a cypionate ester so that it can be really slow to release and give you a similar kind of release that your testicles would. If you're bioidentical testosterone, it's tesnoester, TNE, and then it peaks in your blood after like 30 minutes or an hour and then falls back down. So you would have like kind of effect, which is stupid. So it's actually not bioidentical. Just to be clear, it's just like, it's and testosterone in general is bioidentical to every other kind of testosterone, even artificial stuff, because testosterone is a very simple molecule to describe, and you can make it exactly the same way in a lab as you can inside of the testes of a rat. I still get Scott, you get your TRT from rat testicles, right?
Absolutely.
Where God intended. Someone's like, is that a thing of macadamia nuts? You're like, rat balls, actually. Oop, you want one? They're like, I'm actually quite good and missing out on test. All right, workout stuff. Finally.
Oh, who else? The Joe's Rocky way. Let's go. Anybody try. Seriously. Yeah. Get it, Bobby. Let's go.
Oh yeah, his name is Robert, so they call him Bobby. What do I think about this? I think that at RFK's age, being able to do pull-ups like this is absolutely ultra impressive and amazing. And I think very many Americans of his age, younger and older, should consider resistance training with as much diligence and focus as he does. I think this is awesome, awesome stuff. To be a pedant exercise scientist, which I am, he's missing the most growth promoting part of pull-ups by stopping short of that deep stretch. So we want to see him go lower and get a full stretch and a pause and then come all the way back up. Even halfway back up, but all the way down is better than the sort of more middle range halfway up stuff he's doing. So pull-up technique gets a C+. There's ways that you can get an A+, no problem. But the fact that he's in there grinding it hard and hanging around other older men that are shirtless. Scott, that guy back there sounds like a little TRT dad fantasy if I've ever seen it myself. So this is all really, really great stuff. Oh, the ultimate arbiter of a man, how much he can incline press for reps.
No, that's terrible. Please.
RFK.
Thank you. Please. This is what has been my biggest gripe with every single fitness, every single This is going to determine whether Dr. Mike is being honest or not. Every single fitness person I've talked to, okay, content creators and just like normie fitness guys alike, have loved this video. Okay? They love this video. Two things that I cannot stand in this video. One is redeemable, maybe. Pants at the gym. Okay? He's wearing jeans. What the fuck are you doing? But the fact that he's putting up that much weight, that little weight rather, I love incline press. Okay? I think it's great. But the fact that he's putting up that little weight is crazy. Okay? He could be doing a significantly more impressive weight. He looks a lot stronger. He looks a lot stronger than the weight that he's putting up here. And everyone has said, like, dude, that's so impressive. That's such an impressive lift. It's not, okay? It's not. For how much muscle mass he has and for how long he's been weightlifting at the age of, like, 71, okay? A 71-year-old guy that looks like that would be putting up insane numbers. You'd be shocked.
Scott, what is that bottom 2 inches there that really hurts people's egos so much?
Hates it.
I mean,
you don't want to be slow down there either. Just get it off as fast as you
boom.
can. Gotta go.
I don't care if my pec's coming with it. I got to get out of here. Yeah, folks, the best way to grow muscle is to go specifically into that bottom 2 inches, bring the bar all the way down to your chest, sink it in, get a big stretch for the pecs. And even if you don't want to lock it all the way, that's way better than doing the lock it all the way like RFK is doing, but not coming quite down. Other than that, his cadence, his control,